Good morning, traders. It's 9:48 a.m. on October 28th. I'm done trading for the day. I might take a trade in the aftermarket, but just wanted to say thanks for all the new subscribers. We're up to 71 now. The view count is definitely rising, so I appreciate that. I made a video yesterday about a live trade recap of an aftermarket trade I took on TGC, and was a nice little win for me. And that video is doing really well. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So got all kinds of videos between like watch lists that I do daily, and everything else is kind of based on like how to use Webull. So today I want to make a video that was requested to show you how to set up Webull, and I have mine set up in a way that it is useful for scalping and momentum trading. This is the stock that I traded this morning. You can see it failed, and I got out. Here's a small 60-cent loss, but you know, it was trading in consolidation, and after this big huge run up, there was a nice chance that it was going to run more. So it was definitely worth taking a trade, and I went into it with my exit in mind, and got out as soon as it hit that exit, or you know, my stop loss, and therefore took a very small red day. So anyway, that was just a little quick chat about my trade, but this is my scalping and momentum layout, and you can see I labeled it scalp layout, and it says 720p, and that's just because that's the resolution of this screen that I'm trading on, which I really love this screen, but it's an older screen, but it's just very easy on my eyes. The only drawback is because it's a 720p resolution, I can fit less stuff on the screen. It has nothing to do with the overall screen size, it's the resolution. So you may find that you can fit stuff better on your screen. If it's a 1080p or a 4K, you definitely are going to be able to fit a lot more stuff, but you don't need it. I get by fine with this. You know, and the less stuff you have on your screen, probably the better anyway. So anyway, let's go through how to set up a page like this for scalping from scratch. So like if you just opened up your Webull and you haven't set up your trading page, go over here and click on trade. Then you're going to click on new board, and I guess let's just do blank, since we're going to do this from scratch. So it even tells you click here to add widgets. That's what each one of those little boxes are. They're widgets. So the stuff that I have on my page is a watch list. Positions, I do use that. And then I've got some long-term positions that I'm holding, and that's what these are. But yours will be blank if you're not holding anything. Yours will be blank, and the same thing with your watch list will probably be blank. And then orders, I use that as well. So let's save this thing as we go. Sorry if this is like a little bit slow, because I haven't done it from scratch in a while. So if you want to call it scalp layout, you can. I'm just going to call it scalp layout 2, just so I don't get confused with the one that I actually used. We're going to hit save, and then notice that it still says blank up here. So if you want to actually label the tab, you have to hit rename. You could have done this first, and then it would have saved. Like, I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. If let's say I call this scalp layout 3, right, and now I save it again, it's going to ask me if I want to save it as scalp layout 3, since that's what I labeled the tab. So like I said, I haven't done this in a while, but so if you rename the tab first, then you know, you don't have to type it in the save the board name. So if anything happens at any time, you can always go back over here, and there's your save, scalp layout 2, scalp layout 3. You can pull those up and get them back if you mess anything up. So I'm going to close this, because when I hit that, it opens up a new tab. All right, so let's finish up adding the other widgets. So quotes I don't use. charts. I like to have 3 different charts on my board. Now here's something really important that I just remembered when this thing popped up. Let me go ahead and get my 3 charts up. So you just keep clicking the same thing. We'll move all this stuff in just a second. And while I have this open, I'll go ahead. If you want to look at level 2, I personally I understand how level 2 works, but I found that's order book, and it's something you have to subscribe to through Webull, but it's free right now. I think they give it to you for 3 months for free, and then when those 3 months are up, it'll cancel automatically. And if you want to continue to subscribe, you have to actively go in and subscribe, and it's $1.99 a month. So it's a pretty good deal if you like to trade using level 2. Personally, I really don't. I like I said, I understand how it works, and I understand how some people use it to take trades, and I tried to emulate that in my own trading, but I found that it tricked me a lot, because there's a lot of hidden orders that don't show up on level 2, and I'm sure a lot of bigger traders, or maybe trading houses, like institutional traders, they might use it to manipulate certain buyers and make it look like, okay, there's a big bid or ask wall here, and this thing's going to bounce off of that, so you take a trade based off of that, and it does the opposite. So I just prefer using the chart, reading the price action. And if I think if you're a good trader, and if you understand price action and volume, you don't need level 2. I'm not saying that the guys that use level 2 aren't good traders, but you can definitely do well without it. I've seen all those guys that preach, I got to use level 2 because you're trading blind without it. They have gotten in trouble with it too. So that's definitely not perfect. So I'm going to close that out. Sorry for that little sidebar there, but that's why I don't have level 2 on my chart. And then one thing I do have is time and sales, which just helps. That shows you kind of the orders coming in as they're coming in, and obviously green means they're buy orders, and red means they're sell orders, and the white, I guess, is like a wash or a break even type of a trade. So that's the time and sales, and then we're going to need the trade widget. You see all this stuff just kind of piles up on each other, and if you move it out of the way, then you'll be able to see where it is. And we'll move all this stuff in just a second. Price ladder I don't use. Active trader I do use, so I'm going to pull that up. I don't trade options, so I don't mess with that. And then news I use for sure. And MBBO, I don't even remember what that is. Let's see. Okay, well, I guess it's something extra that I don't have access to anyway, but all right. So I think that's everything that I have on my page. So now all we have to do, because of my screen size and everything, I just kind of minimize the size of everything. So it's just kind of like working in Windows. You just drag your cursor over to an edge, and then you can pull it one way or the other, and we can just do that on everything. And then you can always make it bigger once you get things in place, but this will help to maximize the space on your screen and position everything. The charts are the things that you want to be the largest, so we're going to make those bigger in just a second. And I think this active trader window is already as small as it can be. And same thing with time and sale. So the way I have mine set up, I have my active trader over here. And as we move these into place, let's hit this tab here. It says set as group. This is super important. You have to have this on every single widget. You can set it to 1 or whatever you want to set it to, but everything must be set to 1. I'm going to do my watch list next so I can start showing you how this works. So today is Wednesday, so let me pull up my Wednesday watch list. I have another video about how to build your watch list, or make a watch list from scratch, where I show you how I put these labels in and how I add stocks to it. So I'm not going to go through that in this video, but essentially, now that I have this thing set to 1, whenever I click on a stock, like notice that this active trader here is on Apple right now. That's just like a default thing that that Webull does when you add a new widget. If I click MGEN, my active trader switched to MGEN because they're both set as group 1. Everything else is still on Apple because I didn't change those group settings yet. Even the news is set to Apple, but as I switch these to group 1, everything is gonna, this obviously is not gonna change because there's no position. Everything is changing now to MGEN. So you have to do that on every single widget, and it links them all together. Now there could be, well, I'm not going to get into that because we can try to keep it simple. So now watch what happens if I change the stock again to SNMP. Everything changes, right? Everything goes. So that's the idea behind the group thing. So you got to use that. Otherwise, you have to go through each little widget and change everything. All right, so let's get this thing organized. So so this thing, what do they call this? The order. I forget the name. I guess just trade. Yeah. So the trade widget, which is basically your order entry widget. I generally just use this during the day, meaning from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. if I'm trading at that time. In the pre-market and aftermarket, I only use my hotkeys. So, and during the day, I use this in a mix of my hotkeys as well. That's my cat, if you can hear that in the background. Sounds like I'm torturing him, but I'm not. He just goes off into distant places of the house and starts moaning like that. He's done that since he was a kitten. There's nothing wrong with him. All right, so I'm just trying to move. These things can be tricky to grab sometimes. So you see how you just have to kind of keep hovering until you see that 4 arrow thing. And what I like to do is just kind of, these things snap to grid, which is nice, is just bring it to the bottom of the screen, but not any lower, because if I bring it lower, or like let's say I have it right here, Webull will allow you eventually, I don't know why it's not doing it right now, but it'll allow you to drag some of these below the level of the bottom of the screen. But then just like the way we have this here, you're going to have that going vertically, and I don't like that because that can move the screen, like while I'm trading, if I click on something the wrong way, and kind of mess me up. So I'm okay with this because this never really messes me up. It never moves while I'm trading. But depending on what you click on, if you have any of these widget boxes going below the level of your screen, you could get like a vertical scroll like you would see on a web page, and then all of a sudden your order buttons are covered up or something like that, and you're trying to get in or out of a trade really quick and you can't. So so make sure that all of these things are just snapped to the bottom of the screen. All right, so that's that side. The news, I just kind of sneak in over here. The watch list, I think, is also as small as it gets. Oh no, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, let's make that smaller. So it looks like all this stuff is fitting nicely over here. The time and sales, I think I have it over here. Okay, and then I have my different charts set up. So what should determine like the minimum size of your chart is when your volume indicator pops up. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, there you see how the volume shows up. Also, all the buttons at the top start to appear, as this thing gets bigger. So volume is a pretty important indicator when you're trading. If there's no volume, you really don't want to be trading the stock. So I always like to have the volume up, and then the way that helps you is that when you pass over the candles, it shows you the volume in the stock. And then so my oh, you know what? I don't keep my watch list over here. Forgot. So let's. All right. So this is going to be my 5-minute chart. You always want to be trading with multiple time frames up just to give you a better idea of what the stock is doing. So now we can see like what the volume is on the 5-minute chart. And MGEN looks like it's gonna do a little curl up here to the upside. Let's see here. That's the beauty of only taking one trade per session, is I'm never FOMO trading. So, all right. So 5-minute chart, and then this one is my 1-minute chart. That's the main chart that I look at, and you can see I have my volume up here, and then so definitely something different. I'll have to go back to my screen and see, because that definitely looks a little different. What have I done differently? All right, so yeah, it looks pretty close here. Just the size, I guess the time and sales I have taking up more space. You know, it looks like let me see the active trader. You know, all of this is the same. Oh, I've got the news tucked behind. That's the difference, to give myself more room for the chart. So let's say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 news stories visible. So yeah, that's the difference. I don't want to trigger an order, so I gotta be careful clicking on that. Almost got it. All right, so this is, you know, again, you may not have to do this. This is because of the resolution of my screen. I only have so much room for so many things, so some of it has to overlap. Now this allows me to get my charts a little bit bigger, and then these charts, I think I have them kind of split in half size-wise, and then right now it looks like the 5-minute chart's a little smaller than the 1-minute chart. So one way you can check is just overlap the two, and now you can see. All right. Let's do a little resizing here. Just trying to make the charts like as equal sized as possible. You don't have to get this finicky with it if you don't want, of course. So I'm not going to play with that anymore, because that's not important for a video like this. The important thing is that each of your charts is big enough that it shows the volume. Any bigger than that is like icing on the cake. You can scroll. I'm using my mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out of the chart. That's the way I like to do it. You can use these buttons as well, but that's pretty slow. And what's interesting, I guess maybe no, yeah, so that it works the same way. It's just much slower than the scroll wheel on your mouse. The other thing you can do is change the vertical scale of the chart like this. I'm just left clicking in this area, and that can really help, especially if you're like in the trade. You know, once you're filled, I always like to kind of open this thing up a little bit so that I can really see each little pop, you know, and I know what the range of each pop is. So like, let's say I'm buying for the break of this candle, and let's see if it breaks. Okay, there, it broke. And now, you know, I'm hyper focused on this because I'm zoomed in, and I've got my scale like this, and I can see that it's just doing a little 1 cent pop there. Sometimes moving in like half a cent increments. But this makes it easier if you're trying to scale out. Like that would be a good spot to scale out at that 110 level to take some shares off. So anyway, that's the point of this vertical scale, is it lets you really see. Now watch, if I right click and hit reset chart, I'm way out there, and now it's really hard to see what's going on in this area. But yeah, I mean, you want to kind of start off with a wide view, and then when you're starting to think about taking a trade, you come in closer, and you're focused on the one spot. But you should never just always be zoomed in and think, oh, I'm just going to trade based on these few candles. That doesn't make any sense. Once you learn about price action, you know that you need to see more than that. The last thing, this chart I have set up is a daily chart. And this, let me get the indicators up too, because this could be a pain in the butt. Let me try one thing really quick just to save some time. Well, you know what? No, I better not, just because if you're starting out new with this is not gonna work for you. So the last thing that you're gonna probably want on your chart, you won't have these lines here. Let me get rid of these lines. Those are like support and resistance lines that I drew. If you learn about that kind of thing, or you just want to mark out the high of day, that's really easy to do. You can just put your cursor anywhere on the chart, really. If you want to mark out the high of day here, it doesn't matter if your cursor's there or not. You just put your cursor anywhere, right click, go to drawings, horizontal line, and now this is where it matters where your cursor is. Now there you have a line showing you the high of day. Actually, it wasn't the high because there's a high back here, but you get the idea. So let's say I realize that, okay, wait a minute, the high is over here. I can grab this line on any chart and drag it up with the left click of my mouse, and now I've marked out the high of the pre-market. So that's horizontal lines. I'm not going to go too much into detail with the different drawings you can do in this, because this is more about the layout. But the indicators, that's pretty important to have that on your layout. And I only use, and let me say this because this is really important, if you're a newer trader, I would focus on learning price action, and the indicators are secondary to that by a long shot. The indicators are lagging behind the price action. The price action means the candles, like how the candles are moving. Like this is price action. You see the price moving, and the price action is the way the candles form, and that tells you a whole lot more about what the stock is doing than the indicators, because that's happening in real time. The indicators are after the fact. The indicators are based on the price action, but they only adjust after what's been going on. So indicator wise, I use two EMA, which stands for exponential moving average indicators. I'm not going to go into too many details about what all that stuff means, because this video is just about the layout. I can do separate videos about that. Volume I do have on the chart, but not this way. So let me get rid of that, because I'm trying to maximize my chart area. So EMA, and then also I do have the VWAP indicator on. I guess you have to go to all indicators and then scroll down, and there it is, VWAP. And real quick, that's just to tell me, if I'm in the kind of upside or downside really, really quickly. If the stock is trading above the VWAP, then it's generally in the upside or more bullish than it is bearish. But it's not like a rule. It's just a quick, I get a quick glance, and I know kind of where I'm at in the chart. So I use two EMA indicators, one set to 9, which just means if I'm on the 1 minute chart, it's an average of the price of the previous 9 minutes. If I'm on the 5 minute chart, it's an average of the previous 45 minutes. If I'm on the daily chart, it's an average of the previous 9 days, right? So you kind of get the idea of what those numbers mean. And then the next one I do a 20 EMA. So again, if I'm on the 1 minute chart, that goes back 20 minutes and just averages the price and draws a line based on that average. You can set the colors to whatever you want. I have mine EMA 9 set to blue. These are pretty self-explanatory. You can just drag this over. You know, it has some basic colors that you can start with, and you can play with this if you don't like the color. That looks pretty much like how I have mine. And then the EMA 20, which is the longer term, I have set up as red. So just bring it over here. So that's it. I don't use, you know, I try to use no more than these 3 indicators because it just messes up the chart. So anyway, yeah, that's it for, so that's on the, oh, and then let's just go back to that really quick and see, so this, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Save indicator set. Let's just call this like our scalp indicators. Click save. And now we should be able to pull those up on every chart. Load indicator set, scalp. All right, so see, this is the thing. This is kind of, I guess, a bug in Webull, is even though I saved those, it doesn't pull up, I guess, you know, the customized settings of each of the indicators. So you're going to have to go in. You can just click on this little gear thing and change these just like I did over there. And you can play with the color. It only shows the ones that you have selected. So you can see these EMA lines popping up on the chart on the left. So you can play with that. I showed you how to do it on the first one. Now on the daily chart, I only use one EMA, or sorry, I only use one moving average. And that's the 200 moving average. Doesn't matter, you can set any of these to 200, but I thought there might be one. So, and again, mine is red. I just like the red for the longer term. You can pick whatever color you want. So the MA is the simple moving average, and the EMA is the exponential moving average. And this is not an indicator video, but essentially the simple moving average is a little bit smoother. The EMA reacts to price action quicker. So, all right. So I'm glad I wasn't FOMO trading this thing, because look what happened. It's the beauty of you know, having a strict trading plan where, you know, you take one trade per session and you say that's it, whether it's win or lose. Oh, here's one thing that I like to do on my charts. Look at how kind of messy this is over here. If you go over to the gear, the settings gear here on the chart, it gives you some more options. I'm trying to remember. Okay, that's on the axis. Show last price. That one you do one up. Show last indicator values. That's where all that mess is coming from. Price alerts. That's fine. You're not going to see anything unless you set them to price alerts. And then this is fine. So now look, you see the difference. Here, I would have to do it on this one as well to get it to go away. So now all I see is the last price. It looks like this thing, yeah, was suspended on the downside. So yeah, so we're seeing the last price. It's not moving right now because it's suspended. Let me see if I go to another stock, and then you can see it move. But you see how nicely Webull works when you have everything set up as a group. You go to your watch list, you click on another stock, everything changes to that stock, but all your settings are still the same. Your indicators are there just how you like them. Once in a blue moon, it'll do some weird glitch, and you'll try to change stocks and say like everything will be on the 1 minute chart or everything will be on the 5 minute chart. The best thing to do in that scenario, now we haven't saved this in a while, so let's save this. And so let's say that weird thing happens where, you know, all the charts are set the same for some reason. You know, your indicators can disappear. Hey, why is my layout, you know, all set to 1 minute? Instead of going back and like changing and redoing your indicators, which is a pain in the butt, the best thing to do is just to close it and then click add and go to scalp layout. And notice before, when I closed it, I had set everything to 1 minute because I was trying to mimic, you know, a glitch. and notice that now everything is set to back to normal because it's where I saved it. All right, the only thing that's kind of bugging me is that this isn't staying on top, and on my screen it does. I'm not sure what the difference is there, why it's not staying on top, but there it is now. So I guess now that that's staying on top, I'm going to save it again. So this is like a good little lesson here. Anytime you find a little problem with your layout and you fix it, and say you go to some other page, you come back and you notice, okay, it's finally doing what I want it to do, just save it again. So I think that's really it for my layout. This is my scalp / momentum layout, and I've been using it for quite a while now. In the beginning with Webull, I was changing things a lot, because I didn't know really what I wanted, what I needed. And this layout I've now been using, I would say, definitely more than a month. And I used to change it daily. So the fact that it's been even 2 months like this, the fact that this has lasted this long, it really tells me that, okay, this is finally, got everything that I need to do the type of trading that I want to do. So if you're a different type of trader, or you're an investor, or you're a swing trader, this layout may not be that helpful for you, but at least you got to see how to make a layout, how to save, all that kind of stuff. So I think this is it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything that I forgot to go over. There's definitely a lot of things that I could have gone into a lot of detail with, but I think that would be better for another video. And like I said, I already have a video about how to build the watch list and how to put in all these names and everything, so you can check that out. And that's really it for the layout video. Questions and comments below. Thank you.